Fine.
Okay, so I'll take attendance now. Councilman Scaringi.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a real meeting, yeah?
I can't tell if, I don't think Councilman Scaringi's on.
Present.
Oh, he's here. Okay, Councilwoman Resnetti,
Present.
Councilwoman Riley,
Present.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Present.
Councilman Burns,
Present.
Councilman Strawn,
Present.
and President Scanlon.
Present.
Okay, that's all 7 here.
Good. Okay, Steve Carson is first. Is he online here?
I am here.
Okay.
2
All right, Steve,
resolutions.
tell us about.
Go ahead, sorry.
You fine, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the 2 resolutions I have before you, RL 2086 and RL 2088. The first one, 2086, is simply a bookkeeping issue. Due to just a mistake, we funded the resolution came to council to fund several homeless agencies using ESG funds, but the budget line was incorrect. Unfortunately, it needed to be a separate budget lines for each one. If you see the attachment, it's the table indicating the 5 agencies, the original resolution, and then the change of funding lines from the CD lines to the CG lines. I am asking for this to be expedited. These agencies would like to get this money ASAP. We have invoices on our desk. If anyone has any questions about those, be willing to answer them. Or I can move on to the next resolution, if that's what we want. Okay.
Sound good.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to lead the meeting. It's a city council meeting.
It's showing up that Tom is, well, it said he was offline. I think he might be back now.
Okay.
I think he might be having some technical difficulties.
Do I need to wait?
Tom, it's saying you muted. You're on mute. Log out. Hey, Tom, if you can hear us, you got to unmute yourself in the top right corner.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I don't know. I got kicked off there for a minute, but it was off. But I could hear Steve talk. Okay, so if everybody can hear me now, is there any questions on 20-86? I hear none. Steve, move on to 20-88, please.
Okay. So no doubt you've heard about the CARES funding that went through the federal government. One part of that is a good chunk of money that's going to HUD. As a HUD entitlement community, we are being granted some additional funds through that CARES Act. It's approximately 1.1 million in additional CDBG money for this year's action plan. And in addition to that, 577,000 and change for additional ESG money. Just to put things in perspective, we normally get roughly 140,000 in ESG money annually, although the CDBG money is kind of a match. So we're pretty much not just doubling, but going even beyond what we normally get for this year. The funds must be spent on something that is COVID-19 related. So the mayor is still determining what exactly it's going to be spent on. It will still have to come to council, anything he plans on doing, just like a normal expenditure. We are doing, so next week, we're planning on having the special hearing or the special public hearing to include you folks as well as CDAC to get public input. I've already gotten several email inputs on what to do with the Corona money. The whole issue with this is to try to get this stuff turned around quickly and out to people where they need it. So there's lots of uses for this money. There's still a lot of weird HUD regulations here, but this RL is just allowing us to go ahead and put the budget, the revenue line in, and then put in the two expense lines. One sort of a regular expense line, and the other one would be the administrative expenses, so we don't exceed the admin cap in case we need to do things like hire additional people or provide overtime hours to help run this grant. So I can answer some questions. Obviously, the mayor's office would have to answer any more specific ones, but I don't know if the mayor's office is ready to answer those yet. This is just sort of the beginning salvo of this. Hopefully, we'll have programs running here within a month to help the people in the community. So that's that. Do you guys have any questions about that or concerns?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. See if I can help you.
Yeah, is this Stephen I'm talking to?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, Stephen, so once we determine where the money's going to go, I know I saw the mayor's press release there. They talked about paying people's bills, whether or not their electric bills or their water bills or whatever. And let's say I have a constituent then who qualifies. Are we going to determine what the qualifications are for these people? And then if they are qualified, or if they want to apply to see if they're qualified, this new office, I mean, can I help them through this red tape on this? Is it new red tape? What exactly do they have to do in order to get the money?
So for both of those, that's still being determined. I can tell you at first blush, the qualifications are very similar to the existing ESG and CDBG programs. In fact, you mentioned the red tape. In fact, the qualifications are actually slightly less. They've relaxed some of the regulations, which is a good thing. But this will still follow the framework of existing CDBG and ESG rules and regulations. So we're not really doing anything new with this. It's just going to kind of mimic what we already have done with various programs. The qualifications for CDBG, you have to be below 80% of the income for the average family in the area. That still exists. For ESG funds, you have to be between 30 and 50% or lower. That 30 and 50 is still being worked out with HUD. I think HUD's still trying to figure out where they want to drop that number. But really what we're looking at is if you can get help with ESG up to a certain point, you no longer can because of your income. We would like to flip around and then use the CDBG funds to help people. And like you said, one of the ideas is utilities, rent payments, water, electricity. I've made the argument maybe internet, but we'll see, simply to keep people in touch. But those are just kind of some of the things we're looking at. I've talked to HUD about possibly doing mortgages for those who still income qualified. But we'll see. Ultimately, we'll see what the community needs and what the mayor decides from what the community needs based off of what the Homeless Coalition makes as a recommendation, which they'll be doing Monday, as well as CDAC once they make a recommendation as well. Regarding the new office, we may end up hiring people. We do not know yet. We may simply subcontract this out to an agency. We simply don't know. We have some employees that aren't doing a lot because their positions kind of hindered by the COVID-19 pandemic. Hopefully we can get some of those guys flipped around to help administer this stuff as we need it. So we're not quite sure exactly what we're going to do, but this is just, like I said, the beginning stages. Next Monday, we're going to start gathering information. Well, we've already started gathering information, but Monday should be when we really start collecting information. And then after that, we'll start determining the exact, regulations, how you apply your minimum qualifications. But it's not going to be that different from our existing programs.
Where can we find those regulations now?
If you go to the HUD Exchange, if you Google HUD Exchange, I don't know the exact URL. You can see that, but I can be honest telling you, working with this stuff that I've been doing for the past few weeks, you have to go daily because the stuff gets updated and changed slightly every day.
So if somebody wants the information on it, basically right now I'm telling them we don't know the qualifications as of right now.
Well, I can tell you that if someone calls and asks me if they qualify for the regular CDBG program, I absolutely can tell them based off of
Okay.
how much they make and their household size. That's a very
Okay.
simple formula.
Okay, so we can give them your office number for that, or how does?
Yeah,
I don't want to overwhelm you with phone calls. I mean, you know.
Oh no. Actually, tell you what, if you want to tell people to go to the trying to think of the best place for that, I can probably post something up on the city website under my office, a table that shows the income qualifications for the 80% AMI.
That would be awesome.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And then I will send out to city council the page.
Awesome.
The other thing, Joe, is that there's 2 email addresses that are specific to this program. Number one, hudplan@cityofbinghamton.com. That's the email if you have a nonprofit agency in your district or across the city that's interested in providing programs to assist with COVID-19. And then the new email address for constituents who may be interested in receiving some of these relief programs is ecrecovery@cityofbinghamton.com. And that's a one-stop shop that people can inquire about whether they qualify for a program or find out more information. And then that number that was included in the press release as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mr. President? Or Steve, can I ask a question?
To me, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Steve, you had mentioned with the CDBG funds that it was 80% of income related to EMI. Is that 80? What is that income level based on? Is that median income in Broome County? Is it City of Binghamton related? Is it Southern Tiers related? What is that based on?
That's a good technical question. I can answer that definitely. It's based off of the metropolitan statistical area that Binghamton is, which includes all of Broome County, I believe all of Tioga County, and maybe parts of Pennsylvania.
It's a regional number, correct?
It's a regional number, and then they take the average based off of the various household sizes. So each household size is a different number. So a single person can make X amount and still qualify, but 2 people could make slightly more and still qualify. And I don't have the numbers with me because they change every year, so it's difficult to memorize them. But I want to guess right off the bat, like a 2-person household is probably around 35 or 40 right now.
Okay, thank you
Still
very
be able
much.
to qualify. Yeah.
I have one more question. The income, like I have friends that work up at Ruby Tuesdays at the mall. Ruby Tuesday announced today that they will not be reopening. So the income, right now they have no income. But are you going to go by last year's income, or do you go by the income they're making now?
I believe our current plan is projecting forward. So if they've been recently laid off and they have no other sources of income, it qualify as 0. I believe that's our current, how we're currently going to handle this. And obviously that's how we should be handling, because that's the loss of income. That's where people are being impacted by the coronavirus.
Right. Okay. Good deal. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions? Oh, yeah.
Did we lose President Scanlon again? Is he there?
Tom, can you hear me?
Can our pro tem take over?
Tom is still listed here.
Yeah, as far as I,
Oh, his mic went away.
Well,
Now
Okay, it looks like he's back again.
For some reason, this connection keeps going in and out.
Oh, actually.
Can you have Sophia run that meeting?
Let's go. Come on, Sophia.
Oh, you hear me now?
Thanks, Tom.
Oh, it came
Mr.
back.
President.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. It keeps going
Okay.
on and off, and it keeps cutting out. So I don't know why.
We
All
can
right.
hear you now.
Okay, I can, you want me to go ahead?
All right, thanks. Bye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Carson. So,
Hello.
Next- yes, who's that? Tom, is that
It's
you?
Tom Scanlon again.
Are you-
Sophia, why don't you go ahead and run the meeting because my phone's going in and out, so I'm not going to be able to do this. So,
Okay.
Sophia, go ahead and run the meeting. I'll try as much as I can.
Okay, all right. Okay, so any other questions from Mr. Carson? Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to Mr. Standish. Ray, can you tell us a little bit about RL 20-89?
Yep, 20-89, that's a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into agreement with Tim Haas Associates to perform condition assessments for the city parking ramps. This is a New York State requirement. And these were supposed to have been submitted in October, so we're way behind for numerous reasons. So I'd like to have this expedited if I could.
I've got a question.
Yep.
Go ahead, Aviva.
Thank you. I was just wondering how this particular firm was selected.
This firm was selected because they have performed multiple projects on both those ramps and are very familiar with it. And I had gone out for RFQs, requests for qualifications from other firms, and went through that process, and I had a scope and a fee from another firm that was quite exorbitant. So I went back to Tim Haas and asked them for a scope and fee, and their scope and fee was considerably less.
Sorry, does anyone else hear that beeping or was that just on my phone?
I heard it.
Heard it, yeah.
Oh,
I heard it.
okay. What, did that mean anything? I don't know what just happened. Okay, well, anyway, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Standish. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to Jared, RL 2087.
Yep.
And I should just sneak in here real quickly that it's Mr. Graham's birthday today, so we should all wish him a
Yeah, happy
It is.
birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Jared.
Happy
Only
birthday.
turned 29 once, I suppose, but thank
Oh,
you
my
very much. Thank you. So I have an RL. It's essentially, it's a authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Boscov's in conjunction with the BLDC agreement and IDA agreement. I think you folks will remember at the 2020 State of the City, the mayor announced that, you know, we wish to have a long-term plan for the Boscov's building and parking ramp, and that we're working with state officials to talk about priorities for redevelopment there. This agreement in no way impacts that, and we're still continuing down that path. This simply provides the framework for the BLDC and IDA to do an extension, but we, you know, hopefully we'll have a different, longer, better deal coming shortly. So this does not impact our ability to do that, but one that we have to do as the current agreement expires in May. So a very similar thing was done last year, which is included in the packet.
Questions or comments? Okay.
Let me
thank
ask.
you. Oh, yeah.
This is Angela Riley. Part of the discussion with this last year was there was an agreement by Boscov's to do some upgrades, some property maintenance restoration. Do you recall?
On the current, what's the question? Everything is remaining the same from previous year's extensions.
Right. So, but under previous discussions regarding Boscov's and our relationship, they were, and it's not even this last year, I think it's just something that we asked of Boscov as owners in terms of maintenance to the property, upgrades. Are you familiar with that?
I know that the Boscov's does not own the building. That's owned by the IDA, and so ultimately Boscov's is a tenant in the building. What's being talked about for the upgrades to the building is a larger strategy, likely with state money, that would invest millions of dollars into the building and parking facility that's on the site. That's what our focus is on, and that's why we've been doing these yearly extensions in anticipation of a larger deal.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. This is Aviva. Does this, so you're saying this doesn't have any effect on, for example, the pilot that Boscov's has? Is that correct?
No, everything's the same. It's just another extension. But again, our premise is not to have this be the operating agreement, is to have a larger plan in place for the redevelopment of that site. So all of the terms remain the same, and that's been the case for the last few one-year renewals.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Questions? Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to pending legislation.
Okay, what we have here is just what came through our last work session meeting here. I'll be on your agenda. You can read through them if you'd like, but they're all on here. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions? Okay. So I guess if there's no other comments or any questions, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.